The day Mia was born, the midwife gasped. A long, jagged scar stretched from the corner of her left eye to the edge of her lip. Her mother, Abigail, trembled as she held her for the first time, unsure how her daughter could have been marked so cruelly by life before it even began. The doctors called it a rare birth defect, but to Abigail it felt like a sign, a cruel twist of fate. As Mia grew, so did the stares. At first, it was curious glances from strangers, quickly turning to whispers and pity. Other children stared wide-eyed, their innocent questions cutting deeper than any blade ever could. "What's wrong with her face?" one child asked on Mia's first day of kindergarten. "Did someone hurt her?" another whispered. Mia learned to lower her head and avoid the mirrors, but the question she couldn't ask aloud echoed in her mind. Why me? By the time she turned 10, she had perfected the art of invisibility. She wore her hair long to cover the scar, spoke only when spoken to, and avoided friendships for fear of rejection. Abigail, who loved her fiercely, tried everything to make her feel beautiful. She bought her colorful dresses, signed her up for art classes, and filled their home with warmth. But no matter what Abigail did, Mia couldn't escape the shadow of her scar. One rainy afternoon, Mia overheard her mother talking to a neighbor. "She's a bright girl," Abigail said. "But she doesn't see it. She thinks the world only sees her scar." The word stuck with Mia. That night, she stood in front of the bathroom mirror, pushing her hair back for the first time in years. The scar stared back at her, unblinking, unwavering. She traced it with her fingers, feeling its uneven ridges. She didn't cry, but she didn't smile either. She just stared at it until exhaustion forced her to bed. High school was a battleground of taunts and whispers. One boy, Jack, made it his mission to call her Frankenstein at every chance he got. But one day, when Jack was laughing with his friends, another boy stepped in. "Shut up, Jack," said Aaron, a quiet, lanky boy from Mia's math class. "At least she's brave enough to show her face." It wasn't much, but it was enough to spark something in Mia. That night, she found herself sketching a portrait of her own face, scar and all. She stayed up until dawn, drawing every detail, capturing every line. For the first time, she didn't see the scar as a mark of shame but as part of her story. By her final year of high school, Mia had found her voice not loud or commanding, but steady and sure. She became known for her art, filling canvases with raw emotion. At the senior art show, she displayed a self-portrait titled Born with a Scar. It was a bold piece, her face rendered in vivid, unapologetic detail. People stopped to stare, but this time Mia didn't lower her gaze. Her mother, standing beside her, held her hand tightly, her eyes brimming with pride. Still, life didn't magically become easy. The world wasn't kind to scars, and Mia knew there would always be those who couldn't see past hers. But she also knew this: she was more than her scar. It was a part of her, yes, but not the whole of her. It was a reminder of the strength she never asked for but had cultivated all the same. Years later, when Mia stood before a crowd as a renowned artist, she began her speech with trembling hands and a steady heart. "I was born with a scar," she said, "but it doesn't define me. What defines me is how I chose to live with it." And as the audience erupted in applause, Mia smiled, not to hide her scar but to show the world she had finally learned to wear it with pride.